Hello and welcome to New York's Penn Station. Today we're heading to Miami, riding from New York to Florida on board Amtrak Silver Star. Our adventure begins at the one and only Moynihan Train Hall. Opened on January 1st of 2021, the hall plays host to Amtrak and the Long Island Railroad, with connections to the New York City Subway and New Jersey Transit through the underground passageways. The hall itself is absolutely gorgeous. Covering a total of 31,000 square feet, the hall gives access to tracks 5 through 16 with an enormous skylight above for plenty of natural lighting. Our sleeper ticket down to Miami grants us access to Amtrak's Metropolitan Lounge. Access to lounges across the Northeast is granted to passengers with same-day first class or sleeper accommodations. Entrance is also granted to passengers with Amtrak Select Plus or Select Executive Reward status. Situated beside the lounge entrance is a model of Amtrak's Avelia Liberty train sets. The Alstom-manufactured high-speed trains are capable of reaching a top speed of 160 miles per hour on existing infrastructure, 10 miles per hour faster than the current Acellas. They're also rated for a top speed of 220 miles per hour should the Northeast Corridor infrastructure be upgraded. While the model is great, we'll get to see the real deal just outside Philadelphia here in a couple hours. The Metropolitan Lounge here at Moynihan Train Hall is the newest on Amtrak's roster, and it's by far the nicest across the corridor. Just beyond the entrance is a wall of luggage storage cabinets, allowing passengers to leave their luggage while relaxing in the lounge. The Metropolitan Lounge includes plenty of space to sit and relax or get some work done, with free Wi-Fi for all passengers, plus a business center with a printer for those still on the job. If the seats inside aren't to your liking, then the lounge offers a balcony overlooking the train hall below. Although the chairs out here aren't that comfortable, it's a great vantage point to see the entirety of the station hall with passengers moving every which way. While all of Amtrak's Metropolitan lounges offer food service of some kind, the lounge in New York is the only one to feature a full-service bar. The bar offers a number of hot and cold food options and plenty of drinks to choose from. Bagels, croissants, muffins, sandwiches, and more are all complimentary to passengers for breakfast, with the options rotating throughout the day. A self-service station is also available with coffee, tea, and light snacks for the taking. I went with a bagel and cream cheese, a chocolate croissant, and a glass of iced coffee to start my day. The first boarding call for Amtrak Train 91 is made about 25 minutes before departure. A small perk of traveling in a sleeper is priority boarding, a member of staff escorting us from the lounge out to track 13. Descending to the platforms, we meet the Silver Star for the first time. Leading the Star for the first leg to DC is Siemens ACS 64 number 612, the electric locomotive swapped for diesel motive power south of the nation's capital. Heading down the platform, we pass the coach cars, cafe car, and for the first time in a long time, a Viewliner 2 diner. After a multi-year hiatus, traditional dining returned to Amtrak's Silver Meteor and Silver Star in June of 2023. Beyond the dining car are the two sleepers. The first, Car 9110, is a Viewliner 1, while ours, Car 9111, is a Viewliner 2. Stepping on board and shuffling down the corridor, we find Room 6, our home for the next 31.5 hours. While we wait for coach class to board, let's take a look at our route down to Miami. Our journey begins with a blast down Amtrak's Northeast Corridor. The Silver Star reaches 110 miles per hour along Amtrak's busiest rail line, the sleeper service making infrequent stops as we head south. After an engine swap in DC, the Star continues on under diesel power. Richmond, Virginia comes just before dinner on day 1, the Silver Star crossing into North Carolina just after sunset. North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia are traversed almost entirely overnight, the sun greeting us in the Sunshine State at the start of day 2. After a brief stop in Jacksonville, the Silver Star meanders through Palatka and Orlando, our train breaking west to make its out-and-back stops in Lakeland and Tampa. Passing by Lake Okeechobee, we make a quick stop in West Palm Beach, the brief halt marking the final few miles into Miami. The Silver Star mirrors the Atlantic coastline through the South Florida Metroplex, our train pulling to a stop in Miami at the end of the line. We'll cover a total of 1,522 miles on our adventure today, with a travel time of 31 hours and 33 minutes. Departure from New York is smooth and right on time. We emerge from the East River tunnels into a gloomy northeast morning, the fog ever present as we cross Portal Bridge. Departing Newark, Locomotive 612 can stretch its legs. It's a slow start at first, but we finally creep up to our top speed of 110 miles per hour on today's journey. While I had hoped to hit 125 heading south, the Viewliner 1 sleeper that's been added to the consist limits our top speed to 110. Not great, but it's better than the 79 miles per hour we'll see south of DC. Keep an eye out for Amtrak's Adams Yard on the left-hand side when heading south, where multiple historic coaches and Amtrak's Turboliner train sets can be spotted. Climbing back up to track speed, we whip past Princeton Junction at 110 miles per hour. Trenton brings an end to our triple-digit speeds for now, the sun finally peeking through the overcast skies as we cross the Delaware River into Pennsylvania. Making our way into the vestibule of our sleeper, we can catch some great views of the Philadelphia skyline and, more importantly, Amtrak's Race Street Yard. Race Street is home to Amtrak's ever-growing fleet of Alstom Avelia Liberty high-speed trains. 6 of Amtrak's next-generation high-speed trains lie in wait, their deployment curtailed by simulation issues from Alstom. With the top speed of 165 miles per hour on existing track and the potential to reach 220 miles per hour, these new train sets will usher in a new era of rail travel here in the United States. Of course, that assumes they actually enter service, a date estimated for late 2024. As our train comes to a stop in Philadelphia, it's time for something both myself and many Amtrak riders have been looking forward to for a very long time: the return of traditional dining to East Coast trains. Making our way through the first sleeper, we enter one of Amtrak's beautiful Viewliner 2 dining cars. Both lunch and dinner are by reservation only, with dining available exclusively to sleeper passengers. Traditional dining offers 6 options for lunch, of which I chose the Angus burger. While waiting for our food, there's plenty to enjoy both inside the car and out the window. Amtrak's Viewliner 2 diners feature wood grain veneer on the walls and ceiling, decorated glass dividers between tables, and some pretty lights down the aisle. A welcome traditional dining touch are the flowers by the window on each table. Our burger is served quickly, the main paired with a side of chips as there are no fryers on board. The burger patty is well seasoned and the fresh veggies add a nice crunch. As with all dining on Amtrak, non-alcoholic beverages are complimentary and unlimited. I went with an unsweetened iced tea to go with our lunch. The weather outside continues to improve as we chow down on our delicious burger. What had started as a gloomy morning has transitioned into a bright and sunny afternoon. Outside, we pass Amtrak's Wilmington Yard. Plenty of maintenance of way equipment, ALC-42 chargers, Acela power cars, and HHP-8 cab cars are scattered across the many tracks. Wilmington comes and goes with little fanfare, our dessert of a butter cake served upon departure. The butter cake is one of 2 dessert options for lunch, the other being a brownie. Ours comes served with a little dollop of whipped cream on the side, the chef choosing to heat up our dessert to bring it to a whole new level. Returning to our room, the miles tick by, our train making its penultimate Northeast Corridor stop in Baltimore. Just west of Baltimore, the Northeast Corridor passes through one of its biggest bottlenecks, the Baltimore and Potomac Tunnel. Opened in 1873, the B&P Tunnel is one of the oldest pieces of infrastructure on the Northeast Corridor. The tunnel's sharp curve, tight track spacing, and steep grade means that trains are limited to just 30 miles per hour. But the days of this low-speed tunnel are numbered. In 2023, Amtrak announced plans for the Frederick Douglass Tunnel, the replacement to the ancient B&P Tunnel. The new tunnel will increase operating speeds from 30 to 110 miles per hour, its two tubes aiming to reduce congestion and delays between Philadelphia and the nation's capital. The tunnel is expected to open in 2026. We once again reach triple-digit speeds as we cruise south, our passing of a WMATA Orange Line train indicating our approach into DC. DC is where trains continuing south must swap from electric to diesel, as it's here where the electrification of the Northeast Corridor ends. Up at the front, the crew is working away to disconnect Locomotive 612. It's a slower pit stop than usual, which gives us plenty of time to admire our Siemens ACS 64. It looks like a couple of crew members are enjoying a game of multi-state tic-tac-toe. The crew finishes the disconnect and 612 pulls forward and away from train 91. You never know what you'll see during an engine swap in DC. As soon as a Northeast Regional pulls out, a VRE commuter train pulls in to head south to Fredericksburg. And once it's cleared the tracks, our sister service, Silver Star Train 92, pulls in en route to New York. With the all-clear given, our two diesel locomotives pull in front of train 91. Taking over from 612 today are GE Genesis P42 DC number 87 and one of Amtrak's new Siemens ALC 42s number 320. The two locomotives back down track 25, the pair coupling on to Amtrak Silver Star. The stop here took longer than anticipated, so it's a bit of a sprint to get back on board ahead of departure. Fortunately, we climb back on board just before the last door closes, returning to our room just in time to see the completion of 92's engine swap. Departing DC always makes for some fantastic footage of many a national landmark. The Capitol Building, Washington Monument, and Jefferson Memorial are all clearly visible as we cross the Potomac River. The passing subway trains give us something to enjoy while stopped in Alexandria. There's one sleeper service that Amtrak operates that requires a special ticket to ride, and that's AutoTrain. AutoTrain runs non-stop from Lorton, Virginia to Sanford, Florida, and is the only service in the US which allows passengers to bring their car with them. The Potomac River provides some serene scenery as the sun begins to set on day one. It's pretty much twilight by the time we reach Ashland, Virginia, our next landmark on the Silver Star. The tracks in Ashland run through the center of town, which creates quite the spectacle for pedestrians. Ashland is also home to one of Virtual Railfann's most well-known rail cams, and pulling up the stream we can see our train roll on by. Though the cell service is spotty, I'm able to pull up Virtual Railfann's stream thanks to Amtrak's onboard Wi-Fi. While not the greatest in the world, the network does provide a download speed of 2.82 megabits per second, which is more than enough to do some light streaming while on the move. Not 20 minutes after passing through Ashland, the Silver Star makes its second fresh air stop in Richmond, Virginia. Right as we step off the train, Northeast Regional 186 comes to a halt on the opposite track. These longer stops are always a great opportunity to stretch your legs and do as the name implies, get some fresh air. Ascending the stairs, it's off to the dining car for the highlight of the night, dinner. Dinner is a slightly truncated version of Amtrak's Western traditional dining, with only a salad as an appetizer. The rest of the menu remains unchanged, with Amtrak's signature flat iron steak, a pan-roasted chicken breast, Atlantic salmon, or a rigatoni bolognese for entrees. For our first East Coast traditional dining meal, I had to go with the flat iron steak, our starter of a salad and a roll served as our waiter takes our order. Each passenger is allowed one complimentary alcoholic beverage at dinner, while non-alcoholic beverages remain free and unlimited. The chef works quickly to prepare our meal, our steak served right as we wrap up the appetizer. Amtrak's flat iron steak comes laid on a bed of mashed potatoes, with port wine sauce and a side of green beans and carrots. As always, it's delicious. It's cooked perfectly and the flavors are incredible. The steak is always a fantastic option. The third course is of course dessert, and I just had to go with the wonderful chocolate toffee mousse. The massive slice of cake is served with a generous drizzle of chocolate syrup on top, and it's a great way to wrap up a filling and tasty dinner. With dinner out of the way, it's time to get clean before heading to bed. The shower for Roomette passengers is located at the rear of the coach, and opening the door we enter the very large and very nice shower stall. The dry side of the room is quite spacious with a large seat to make changing easier. Many fresh towels sit on the seat, the toiletries provided by our car attendant upon request. My favorite addition to the Viewliner 2 showers is the dedicated towel chute, which removes the need for the unsightly linen bag. A frosted glass door separates the shower from the changing area, the partition decorated with a P42 and city skyline. Beyond the door is the spacious shower stall. The stall technically reaches the full height of the car, however the shower head is still positioned just below head height. The temperature controls are easy to adjust and the water pressure is nice and high. It's again one of the nicest showers I've taken on Amtrak. Back in our room, our car attendant has converted the seats into our bed for the night. The bottom bunk is about 6.5 feet long, or the entire length of the roomette. That's about 200 centimeters for my metric viewers. The base of the bottom bunk comes from the converted seats, though a mattress topper has been added for a bit of extra comfort. While our bed is set up, there's one last thing to do before bed. Yet another fresh air stop. Raleigh, North Carolina is the last smoke stop on day 1. Stepping out onto the platform, we're met with some rather atrocious weather. It's cold, windy, and rainy, so I pull a quick 180 and climb back on board. Climbing under the warmth of the covers, it's lights out on day 1. Day 2 begins with the early morning light streaming in through the window. It's about 7:20 a.m. and the Silver Star is approaching Jacksonville, our first fresh air break on day 2. Not 20 minutes ago, we passed by yet another virtual railfan railcam, this time in Folkston, Georgia. The dull twilight soon comes alive with the morning sun, the star pulling to a stop as the real star ascends the sky. It's a crisp, cool winter morning here in Jacksonville. We're about 31 minutes behind schedule as of now, having picked up a few delays somewhere in the Carolinas. The crew works hard to prepare our train for a full day in Florida, the early risers slowly trickling off the train to enjoy the morning air. The all-aboard call rings out down the platform and we climb back aboard for a full 12 hours in Florida. Day now underway, it's time for breakfast. Breakfast is served on a first-come, first-served basis, following the pattern of other traditional dining trains. The 5 breakfast options have been limited to 4, the quesadilla cut for reasons unknown. I went with a cheese omelet plus a cup of coffee to drink. As our food is prepared, the Silver Star flies through Jacksonville and over the Ortega River on the south side of town. Our breakfast comes served hot and ready, the omelet paired with a side of bacon, potatoes, and a biscuit. The omelet is fluffy and cheesy, the potatoes savory and well seasoned, the bacon crisp, and the biscuit, well, it's a biscuit. It's yet another solid breakfast from Amtrak and a great way to start the day. If you're enjoying our ride on Amtrak's Silver Star, why not hit that subscribe button? It's totally free and it really helps support the channel. I also want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my patrons and channel members. Y'all are amazing and I cannot thank you enough for your incredible support. If you too want your name in the video or just want to support the channel in more ways than one, then head on over to the links in the description below. The sun takes center stage outside the window of our roomette. The Central Florida greenery envelops the tracks, the thick foliage reducing our visibility beyond the railway right-of-way. With plenty of time to our next major stop in Orlando, let's take a tour of Amtrak's wonderful Viewliner 2 Roomette. The Roomette is Amtrak's smallest accommodation at 3.5 by 6.5 feet or 200 by 100 centimeters. Amtrak advertises the Roomette as having enough space for 2 adults, though it's really only large enough to fit 1 comfortably. Each roomette includes 2 windows to the central hallway with curtains to cover both for privacy. As is the case with these newer coaches, the doors are super smooth. They're practically effortless, the lock latching into place in one fluid motion. The Roomette daytime configuration includes 2 comfortable lounge chairs. Gone is Amtrak's signature blue fabric, the interior is replaced by a maroon maquette, dark wood veneer, and cream walls. The width difference between the two seats is extremely evident from up above. The forward seat, or captain's chair, is about 4 inches wider than its rearward counterpart. Each seat reclines in the same manner as any other Amtrak room, using the bar beneath the seat bottom. Above the seats are a suite of lighting and room controls, with each including a large area light and a bright LED reading light, an attendant call button, and the PA control. Next to the larger seat are the room's ceiling and nightlight controls, the electronic thermostat, 2 of the 4 outlets, and a fan for the lower bunk. Clearly someone didn't appreciate the green LED being on at night and chose to tape over it. Between the seats are 2 air vents, the room's tray table, safety information card, and complimentary water bottles. The rearward seat is almost identical to the other side, with the same area and reading lights found in the panel above the headrest. Easily the coolest feature of any Viewliner roomette, and one of the largest upgrades is the full sink and vanity. The vanity above the sink includes a small countertop and a large mirror, with complimentary face and hand towels plus 2 bars of soap. Beside the sink are the remaining 2 of 4 outlets, the mirror light switch, sink open light, and cup dispenser. Pulling the latch releases the basin, illuminating the open light as it folds down. The basin is surprisingly large, with high-pressure hot and cold taps, the sink draining when closed. The one thing that's missing from our Viewliner roomette is a toilet. To the delight of some and the disappointment of others, the toilet has been removed from Viewliner 2 roomettes in favor of 2 communal facilities at the end of each coach. I personally am in favor of this decision because, let's be honest, who wants to sleep next to a toilet? But hey, I get that some folks prefer having their own ensuite toilet. Storage space in the Viewliner 2 roomette is really impressive. There are 2 medium-sized compartments located beneath and between the stairs, perfect for storing personal belongings. The lower compartment can easily accommodate a full-sized backpack or even a small suitcase, while the gap between the stairs is great for stashing smaller items. Plus, there's a handy rack for toiletries. For those with larger bags or full-size suitcases, there's a generously sized luggage hold situated above the roomette, extending over the central hallway. The hold has more than enough space for my standard carry-on bag, with plenty of room to spare. And if you're traveling with even more or larger baggage, remember you can often opt to check your bags to your final destination. In contrast to their Superliner counterparts, each room in Amtrak's single-level fleet boasts 2 windows, one for the main seats and one for the upper bunk. Located above the lower seats is the upper bunk, which can easily be accessed by twisting the handle to release it. The bed rolls down on tracks from the ceiling, a surprisingly straightforward process aided by the spring-loaded support cables. When fully lowered, the top bunk sits just below the upper window and maintains a unique shape to accommodate the stairs leading up. The bed offers decent comfort and is just about long enough to accommodate my 6'3" frame. Despite its compact size, the roomette offers a fantastic choice for solo travelers or couples seeking an affordable option. With the Viewliner 2, this already exceptional choice is elevated with modern features and amenities, setting it apart as one of the most comfortable traveling experiences available in the eastern United States. Orlando, Florida is our next fresh air break on the Silver Star. The cool morning has transitioned into a beautiful day. The high sun provides some fantastic lighting of our train, the silvery sides of our Viewliner 2 sleeper glistening in the light. Of all of the 25 Viewliner 2 sleepers, it just so happens that our car, Satire River, is the very same coach we rode in on the Lakeshore Limited many months ago. Of course, we were in room 7 back then, but it's a neat coincidence to be riding on the same rolling stock. Amtrak's Viewliner 1s and 2s are quite easy to tell apart from the outside, mainly due to their different paint schemes and clear difference in age. The older Viewliner 1s run with Amtrak's Phase 4B paint scheme, while the newer Viewliner 2s operate with the tricolor Phase 3B livery. Manufactured by Spanish company CAF, Viewliner 2s entered service in 2015, beginning with the baggage cars and ending with the sleepers. Amtrak ordered 55 baggage cars, 25 dining cars, 25 sleepers, and 25 bag dorms, a number which was later adjusted to 10 bag dorms and 70 baggage cars. On the platform ahead, the coach passengers continue to load up. The bell of an approaching train rings out from beyond our car as a Sunrail commuter train pulls in. Sunrail is Orlando's commuter rail line, the service running 61.3 miles through central Orlando. I had hoped to walk around a bit before departure, but with our train now 45 minutes behind schedule, we're called back aboard as soon as boarding concludes. As mentioned in our Roomette tour, the toilets were removed in favor of communal facilities at the end of each coach. Each bathroom is very nice and quite spacious, despite not being an accessible facility. The sink includes both hot and cold taps, with a bottle of soap, towels, cup dispenser, and two 120-volt outlets found nearby. The angled toilet allows for a much more efficient use of space in these small quarters. They're definitely my favorite bathroom facility on any Amtrak sleeper. They don't call Florida the Sunshine State for nothing. It's all blue skies and high sun as we cruise south. Amtrak's Silver services operate two similar yet very different routes from New York to Florida. The Silver Meteor takes a direct route down the coast, the track sticking close to the Atlantic, while the Silver Star heads inland through the Carolinas. The Silver Star also gets one of the more interesting sections of exclusive trackage, the out and back route to Tampa. Through Auburndale, our train breaks off from the Meteor to head east to Tampa, Silver Meteor Train 97 visible briefly as we leave the main line. Our train now heading to Tampa, it's time for lunch through Lakeland. Returning to the dining car, I ordered yet another delicious Angus burger, a cup of coffee, and a butter cake for dessert. All are excellent, the butter cake again warmed up to add to an already amazing dessert. Outside, the downtown area of Lakeland rolls into view as we come to a stop. While this seems like a normal station, the stop here in Lakeland is anything but. Because the Silver Star must backtrack to rejoin the line south, Lakeland sees two stops from the same train. The first of these comes on the ride out to Tampa and is D-train only, with a second receive-only stop on the way back to the main line. From what I understand, Lakeland is the only station to have two stops like this, and it actually has two station codes, LAK and LKL. The former is for travel to and from the north, while the latter is for travel to and from the south. Plant City comes not 10 minutes after departing Lakeland, our train passing by the dual diamonds of Plant City. Here, CSX's S-Line and the Plant City sub cross the A-Line, the double diamonds of fan-favorite railfanning location here in Florida. Of course, Virtual Railfan has a camera set up here too, and pulling up the stream, we catch our train flying by. Our Tampa stop is coming up, but before we can pull into the station, we have to do something a little out of the ordinary. Tampa is a stub-end station, and in order to continue towards Miami, our consist must be turned around. To do this, the Silver Star uses Ybor City's Navy Y. We start by switching onto the north leg of the Y, our train running far enough to clear the switch back south. The switch then lines for the other side of the Y, the conductor takes point at the rear of the baggage car, and the 2.2-mile backing maneuver begins. It's slow going into Tampa, our train limited to walking speed as it crosses the 18 road intersections into the station. Tampa is a major passenger exchange point for the Silver Star. While chatting with our car attendant, he mentioned we'd be picking up over 100 passengers today, which means we have plenty of time to get out and walk around. Up front, we find 87 and 320, the former battle-scarred from its many years of heavy use. 320 is in much better condition, her Phase 7 paint scheme dirtied but not bruised. The ALC-42s have since taken point on the Silver services. The P-42s waned out of service in favor of the Siemens locomotives. New passengers now on board, it's time to get back on the move for our final segment to Miami. Heading back east, we once again pass the Plant City rail cam, our locomotives charging hard towards Lakeland. And speaking of, we reach our second stop in Lakeland, this time to pick up passengers heading south. If you found Amtrak's Roomette to be intriguing but are in search of more space, allow me to introduce the Viewliner 2 bedroom. The bedroom is the second largest accommodation available on the Viewliner 2. Viewliner 2 bedrooms measure 6.5 by 7.5 feet, or approximately 200 by 230 centimeters. During the day, the bedroom features a full-width sofa and an armchair. Similar to the Roomette, the sofa seating is comfortable, but its widthwise orientation allows for a much wider bottom bunk overnight. Positioned above the sofa are the same fantastic area and reading lights, with two outlets conveniently placed in between. Opposite the main couch, you'll find the armchair with its own reading light mounted on the wall. Bedrooms also boast a full vanity along with an ensuite bathroom and shower. The vanity includes a sink, soap dispenser, the second set of outlets, and a large mirror. Adjacent to the mirror is a cabinet stocked with additional cups, toiletries, and both paper towel and hand towels. The shower in the bedroom resembles the commutal facility at the end of the car, with the addition of a toilet off to one side instead of a seat. It's small for sure, but it's nice to have a private facility. Storage space in the bedroom is similar to the Roomette, featuring the cubby above the door. Additionally, there's extra storage space above the bathroom, adding another suitcase and a half worth of space. The second bunk is stowed away during the day, folding down from the ceiling using the central lever. While not as wide as the lower bunk, the upper bunk still offers considerable width compared to either option in the Roomette. Both the mattress topper and the upper bunk bedding provide around 4 inches of comfortable padding per bunk. With both bunks converted, the vast majority of space is taken up by the beds. The lower larger bunk is 6 feet long by 3 feet 4 inches wide, the upper 6 foot 2 inches long but 2 feet 4 inches wide. That's 1.8 by 1 meters for the lower and 1.9 by 0.72 meters for the upper for my metric viewers out there. Climbing into the bottom bunk, we see that although it's much wider than the Roomette's bed, it's quite a bit shorter, forcing me to either dangle my feet off the edge of the bed or sleep diagonally. Without a doubt, the bedroom is a significant upgrade from the Roomette, albeit at double the cost. I personally prefer the cozy Roomette, but the bedroom is also a great option. The rural Florida landscape continues by our side, train 92 passing us on the second main track on its way to New York. We skirt the north bank of Lake Okeechobee, our journey from west to east Florida punctuated by the setting sun upon our arrival in West Palm Beach. West Palm is the first of many stations heading south served by the local Tri-Rail commuter line. Tri-Rail runs 80 miles along the South Florida coast, serving West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami. The evening twilight fades as our train continues south, the Silver Star now illuminating the way through the night. Fort Lauderdale is next up on the station list, and out on the platform is railfan and fan of the channel Angel the Blind Gamer. Fort Lauderdale is a quick stop for the Silver Star, our locomotives powering up and hauling us down to our final 2 stops of Hollywood and Miami at the end of the line. Absolutely massive shout out to Angel for the footage, and make sure to check him out at the link below. It's pitch black outside by the time we reach the end of the line in Miami. Our train pulls to a stop just 15 minutes behind schedule and 31 hours and 45 minutes after departing New York City. Grabbing our belongings, we can head up the car before disembarking into Miami. With one final look at our Viewliner 2 sleeper, it's time to bring today's adventure to a close. If you made it this far, I just want to say thank you. Sharing journeys like these are always my favorite, so it's a great feeling when people stick around until the end. Anyways, if you're new around here, I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. It's totally free, and it really helps support the channel. Another huge shout out and thank you to my loyal patrons and members. Y'all are amazing, and your incredible generosity is greatly appreciated. If you too want your name in the video, or just want to support the channel in more ways than one, then head on over to the links in the description below. But anyways, that's all I have for today. Thanks for riding with me, and I'll see you in the next one.